Health coaches. Does opening up your calendar availability wide open from 5 a.m. to midnight lead to more booked calls and therefore more clients for you? How much availability should we have on our calendars? So the answer, I believe, from my experience, depends on the size of your business. So most of you are starting from scratch. And so the tendency is for you to have your calendar wide open from 5 a.m. to midnight. It's counterintuitive, but that does not lead to booked appointments. It leads to nobody booking your calls. And if they book your calls, they will tend to no-show and reschedule because they can always just pick from one of the other 100 times you have available that week. That happened with one of the clients that I helped, and he had set his calendar up and he had, I think it was 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., 7 days a week. He was fully available. He will come whenever you need him, but nobody booked. And then if there was the odd person, they would just no show. And I had an experience with that at the beginning with my business, both as a health coach and then as health coaches came to me asking for my help. And as I started mentoring them to bring their practices from 0 to 6 figures, I initially was the one doing all of my calls. But then as my business grew, I was no longer doing those initial calls. And so I had a fully booked calendar. Like it was crazy. And that's where I had to recruit someone else to assist me, at least, going through and filtering out and triaging and determining, are these people just wanting to, get me to do something else? Are they wanting help with their health? I don't do that anymore. And so, they would kind of filter out what were people looking for. I didn't certify people as a health coach, so they filtered those questions out. We went from my fully booked calendar, and then when we transferred it to my assistant's calendar, who had a wide open calendar, Monday to Friday, it wasn't 6 a.m., but it might have been 9 a.m. to 5, might have been 9 to 5. Nobody booked. Nobody booked on the calendar. And mine, the week before, fully booked. So I was like, And so I said, let's take off half of those spots. Let's block half of those spots. And just like that, it filled up. And now we don't have to do that because those spots get fully booked. And so if you hear, and I just heard yesterday from somebody who said, you have to have availability. The person who, has the most clients is the one who has their calendar most available. And that is true for a larger business. So as you're branching out and you're no longer a solopreneur, and maybe you have a stream of ads running in that's providing you with a stream of clients, for example, and they're booking up your calendar and you have a flood coming in, then yes, we want enough spots for everybody. And then the more call availability, then the more booked calls. So then you probably have a team of 3 or 4 people booking your calls and taking your calls so that you want to book them then as soon as possible. Maybe have it only allow your calendar to be booked out 3 days in advance. Anything more, if you book your calendars out 3 weeks in the future, they will no-show. They'll forget, people get busy, or if they really needed help, they will have found something else in the interim. So you want to just focus on those people that are able to book right then and there. So that, if you hear that you should have wide open availability, that is for a bigger business than those health coaches that are starting and they're not running ads. Fun tip, you don't need to run ads. All of our 6-figure health coaches have done that without a single penny of paid advertising. But they are not flooded with hundreds of people trying to get on their calendar. So if you have a whole bunch of people trying to get on your calendar, then yes, that makes sense for availability. But also, we're in the health business and wellness business. You don't want to burn out. So you want to set your hours of operation, and they cannot be 15 hours a day. It's not sustainable. So you want to set your hours of operation that you are focusing on your business, and you want to get in and then you want to get out. Because if somebody's only available from a time zone. So someone had mentioned, well, I want to allow for accommodation for other time zones. Well, if somebody is only available at midnight every day, that's not going to work for you. So eventually you have to have it so that your clients come to you. I know the tendency at the beginning is you'll take anyone pulsing credit card, but you really want to quickly raise the bar. You want to be a professional, be your own business hour, set those hours that you work your business during those hours of operation that you set for your calendar availability. And if you have booked calls, that's what you're doing. If you don't have book calls, you are still working on your business to get those book calls. You're not taking that time and going and working on something else like yard work or laundry or meeting a friend for lunch. Nope. Because you can build a six-figure business in the pockets of your time. You can build a six-figure business part-time, but you just can never build it spare time. So you want to set clear hours of operation. So be a professional. When are the hours that you're working that work for you? And with the right business plan, you don't need hundreds of clients. So you want to set it so that it serves you, that feels really good for you. As soon as we blocked off those half of those spots that booked up, it doesn't take very long for you to get that momentum. So when you're first beginning, set calendar hours that work for you, and maybe for that first week or two, randomly block off spots until you get that momentum going. There is a natural human tendency. We all fall for it. We all know that if nobody else is wanting it, then maybe it's not that good. And it could be that it just opened. But if you go by a restaurant and you drive by and there are no cars in the parking lot, you're not thinking that's the best one around. But if it's packed and there are so many people there, you're like, I got to check that out. And so if everybody else is wanting it, you want it. If there are concert tickets that are hard to get, people line up the night before. And I had a really funny experience years ago. I was with a bunch of other moms, and we had gone, as I say, across the line. We'd gone to the U.S. and we were lined up. We were going in a mall for early coffee. It was early in the morning, and the coffee shop there was open, so we were going to just do that and then carry on with our day. But as we got into the empty mall, there was a single line of people, a long line of people early in the morning lined up. So what did we do? We got in line. We got in line because all of these other people were in line. I'm like, if it's so good that all these people came that early, then we're here. We should get in line. And we were laughing because we had no idea what we were in line for. It is a crazy thing. And it turns out it was for a store that had a sale on. I bought a bunch of stuff. And so it's the same philosophy. And if your calendar is wide open because nobody wants to talk to you, people second guess, and then they don't want to talk to you either. So set your hours of operation. Set reasonable times that work for you. And yes, you can do a nod of what would work for my ideal client, what hours work best for them and for you. It has to be mutually great. And set those hours that work for you, but don't feel the need to go 5 a.m. to midnight thinking that that will help you, because experience has shown me that it is counterproductive. And I know that's counterintuitive. So a bigger available calendar actually led these people to have fewer spots, fewer clients. And that happened to me as well. When I was building my six-figure health coaching practice and I was also working as a doctor, I did not have time to speak to people. And so I would just book a couple of spots in the evening, and they got booked up really quickly because I only had so much time. I was busy, and people are attracted to people who know what they're doing and they are working forward on that. And they're attracted to people who are successful, and they're attracted to people who are in demand. So set your calendar hours and feel free to share in the comments your experience. But that is the reason why we might have two different answers bit depends on the size of your business. All right. Hope that helps. And of course, be good for you.